Hi guys, Judy Haddad, owner of Orange Purple Passions and founder and executive director of Five Purple Oranges, the charity I founded after the loss of my son Alon when we were hit by a truck in Dodge County, Wisconsin. So sometimes the universe has to just throttle me with a message before I sort of get it. And I had been seeing this past week, in the days following what would have been Alon's 15th birthday, I kept seeing these women and men and children speak in different areas, but mostly in for political movements of some kind, about their loss and about how awful it is to have this death certificate of their child they're not supposed to have, and to know that their child is going to miss going on the first date and going to high school and all the things that I think about too. And it dawned on me as I'm listening to these women and men talk about their children, and most of these people, and again in different formats, some on Twitter, some in a documentary, some on newspaper articles, most of these men and women, the children were shot either in a mass shooting or whatever sort of gun violence, and then they chose to take that anger and make it their purpose. Or maybe they didn't choose. I don't think it's a choice. No, my son was not killed in that manner. But when you have that sort of unspeakable trauma thrust upon you, you're almost not in control of where it takes your heart. So I've had a lot of people, I've been very political my whole life, but even more so lately in certain areas. And I've had a lot of people say to me, well, you have no right to talk. You shouldn't talk. You need to be quiet. And I look at these other mothers and fathers and their pain and their purpose, and I think, no, I have a right. And it changed me from thinking of myself in the terms of I do to I am. So mostly when people first meet me, I'm sure it happens to you as well, it's what do you do? What do you do? And it's so hard to really, I do a lot, and it's so hard to really talk about it. So I generally say I'm a public speaker, or I say I run a charity, which is a little bit difficult for me because then I usually have to explain why I formed this charity or why I'm connected to this charity. But I do love talking about the charity, and listen, every dollar helps. But I also have this other healing business, as you know, and I have my coaching, and I have a lot of irons in the fire, and maybe too many. But at the end of the day, when I sat down to think about it, when I was listening to this mother of a 6-year-old that she lost at the Sandy Hook shooting, and then there was another mother lost a 14-year-old in a shooting in Arizona, and I was thinking, no, I'm an activist. I am. My heart leads me to do the things I do with the charity to help other children. My heart leads me to make it so other crash victims are afforded what I was afforded, a why and an outcome that involved the man who killed my son going to prison. And I see that passion in these mothers, and I understand, because it's so hard to have your child ripped away from you and not want to do something. You can't bring that child back, but you can maybe make a difference in some other mother's life or some other father's life, or in the case of Parkland students, some other student's life. Now, this is not a video about gun violence. Please don't get me wrong. It just so happens that I kept getting these same messages. I would see an article about Lucy McBath, who ran for Congress, I believe, after her son was killed in a parking lot in Florida. I look at, I was hearing again from the Sandy Hook mom, I guess it's that anniversary time, and I was hearing from friends who survived 9/11, and I was watching again documentaries that involve gun violence. So I just want to make that clear. That wasn't the message. The message is that this is my purpose, and my purpose is who I am. And I need to start thinking in terms of who I am and not what I do. And who I am is someone who's making a difference in other children's lives. And that is so important to me. I know it's what Alon would be proud of. I know I'm bringing his light to these other lives. But I don't, that's not why I do it. I don't do it in service to my son's memory. I do it because his loss triggered that in me. So when you're seeing someone you don't agree with, and you might not agree with me on like 98% of what I say, but when you're seeing someone you don't agree with, speak passionately about their loss and their purpose. Try to find that empathetic part in you. Put yourselves in that person's shoes and understand that this is a voice that comes from deep within their soul, from that black fissure of losing the most precious thing in your life. I really thank you for your time.